conduit that we gave him, a few months in advance, pulled that and pulled it out to the street, and now we're in there, and we are actually connecting his home with fiber. This is me using a little tool to blow the fiber down the conduit that he's put in all the way out to the road. So it just goes, poof, it's like a little gun, and it just shoots this fiber down the conduit, almost like a spool of film with two things turning really fast, and just shoots the fiber down the conduit all the way out to the road where my other guys are waiting. And they take that fiber and they interconnect it with the fiber to the rest of the community. So that was us in the middle of absolutely nowhere doing all this stuff. Process. So how did he do this? He went door to door and he had 2 to 3 cups of strong coffee with everybody. Those of you who've been to Sweden, I used to call this presentation Coffee Net, because at the end of my time there, I was like this. I didn't sleep for 3 weeks. These people, they drink so much coffee. It is unbelievable. And it's like almost like coffee grounds that they just kind of chew. And so he just goes door to door, and he's like, and what he'd do is in each place he explained what he was doing, why he was doing it, and why it was important to the host. And so, we're going to build this fiber network. And you go, whoa, Bengtoka, what's a fiber network? Well, it's a really, really fast, broadband, and this is what it's going to do, and this is what it's going to do, and this is what it's going to do. Oh, Bengtoka, that sounds really, really interesting and complicated. He says, yes, but your children need it to do well in school. Oh, and you can watch movies on it. Oh. And so, again, he sat there in these people's living rooms and went to her, and he just sold this thing. And then he also asked them if they'd participate. He says, Bengtoka, this is a really important thing you're doing for the community. Yes, it is, yeah. Can I help you with something? Yes, you have a tractor. You could help Mrs. Jones and Mrs. And so together what they did is he basically did what we call, in technical speak, an asset assessment. He got to know what all the things were that people could provide him within his community if he wanted to do this. And he started that conversation. He had no ability to do this up front. He came to the town with an empty pot and said, but he didn't say, I'm thinking about building a fiber network. He said, we're building a fiber network. And he says, and that's why I call it Stone Soup Networks, is he went with his empty pot and said, and the first people came by and said, hey, dude, what's the empty pot for? He says, well, I'm going to make a great soup. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, it's going to be just fantastic. You just love it. I got this magic stone, and it's going to just produce this amazing soup. But I can show you some carrots. And the person, oh, I can go get some carrots. And so they go off and get some carrots, and they bring it back to him, and he throws it in the pot. And that's what he did. He had nothing to start from. He just said, I'm going to do this. He says, and he started to get carrots from this place, and this place, and this place, and this place. You know what this network cost him to build fiber to the home to every single person in Hudiksvall? It ended up costing about the community about $350 a house, which is cheaper than a wireless network, cheaper than any other thing that they could have done. And he did it for about, $350. Because everybody else just chipped in with their carrots and their potatoes and their ham and all that other kind of stuff. And it wasn't just individual citizens. It was businesses and all these other kind of things too. And so basically, he did this. He said, okay, you're going to dig a trench to the road. You're going to lay the conduit. Local techies are going to come by and blow fiber in 3 months. And we're going to do 8 to 10 houses a day. And it's going to cost you 800 Canadian to install it if you sign up now. And it'll be 3,000 if you want us to come back later. And who knows when that'll be. And his take rate was over 60% of his population got connected on his first pass through the community. And then he partners, when you look at the collaboration that he put together, it's really impressive. City, schools, hospitals, churches, research institutes, nonprofits, the citizens themselves. So the one that I'll point out is he actually went to the credit unions and said, hey guys, we're going to be adding value to all these homes. We want to charge the citizen $800 for this. Would you consider putting that on their mortgage? And it was an extra like $2 a month on their mortgage, or $1.50 a month on their mortgage payment. So it was like doing a renovation to the house, like a roof or anything else. It was an addition. It was part of the physical property. It sat on their property line. It was part of that house, and it improved the value. The credit union said, yeah, absolutely, we'd do that. And it's good for them, too. Because then the community doesn't go into the death spiral that I was talking about in the Kootenays. So end result here, 6% growth year on year for 5 years. The fiber optic companies moving to the region to build little innovation centers around the research institutes that he pulled in as partners for this thing. Really, really cool stuff. So, in closing, an intelligent community process can improve quality of life in rural communities. I hope nothing here that I said that, oh yeah, but Wenger's, he works with the city of Toronto. I mean, this can only be done in the city of Toronto. That ain't it, folks. No more excuses. Do not limit your dreams. The number of times that I hear people say, oh yeah, but we can't do that here because. You might as well just look me in the eyes and say, I don't feel like trying. Or this isn't important enough to me. Because what I see that people who do this successfully, they dream huge and they act big. Bengtoka didn't go, well, maybe we can do this, maybe we can't. I don't know, maybe it can't be done here. If he'd have done that, he wouldn't have gotten to the first base. So he said, no, we're going to do this here. We can do this here. And then instead of saying, I'm thinking about doing it, he just said, yeah, we're going to do it. And just by changing the way he spoke about it, it changed the way everybody listened to him. It changed the way that people wanted to give him commitment because he was committed to it. If you're sitting on the fence, how easy is it to get somebody else to join you? Not very easy, Dream big first. Don't limit yourself with what the infrastructure can be. Don't limit yourself with what the finance is. Dream, what do we want to do? And then build down from there and say, now, if we wanted to do this, we want to pull it off, who do we need at the table? Take early action to counter those warning signs. 1 milliliter, I don't know, one of those really small measurements of action is worth a room full of studies and reports. And I don't mean to belittle the planning process, but there's planning for the right purposes, structuring one of these, intelligent communities, and then there's studies to see whether or not we really should do something and whether or not it would be successful. Guys, no study, I've never seen a business plan in all of my years in business, running P&Ls from, $100 million companies all the way down to, big money losers. I have never seen a business plan where you've projected revenues over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and the revenues you get line up with what you planned for. Any kind of map that you do about whether this thing might or might not be, everything changes all the time. It's one of the scary things for the public sector, is that the world is constantly dynamically shifting. And how do we deal with this? How do we move forward? Well, if we do this, this thing's could lose money, or it could make money, is that why you're doing this? Do you want to make money? Or is what you're really trying to do is improve quality of life in your communities? Be really, really clear on what your mission is and take action early. And lastly, most of all, is that you can do this. If Bengtoka, not the sharpest tool in the garden shed on the planet, this guy doesn't have a whole bunch of degrees behind him. He's a farmer who believed passionately in saving his community and saw this as a way to do it. If he can do it there, then with Ottawa in your backyard, Toronto, thankfully, is in somebody else's backyard, but relatively nearby. With all of these assets that you have way more assets. When I said this whole thing started with place, you have way more assets in your place than he did. And so use them and get it done. I believe there's a new, hey, actually, you know what? You're probably right. If you don't think you can do this, you're probably right. Come on. What's it going to take for a black guy to be president of the United States? Yes, we can, right? There you go. Thanks, folks.